Dum dum dum. Feel like we need a drum roll for when we go live.
Yeah, definitely.
Sanjay, you must have a drum roll in your locker somewhere. You must have some sort of gadget for it.
And no, I've got a toy grenade though, and it goes. It does go off.
That'll work.
Use that.
Yeah, we'll use that.
That'll work. So we're live. I wanted to log onto my computer with a little bit of time, 15 minutes before, and Apple decided it wanted to do some sort of update. So it was panic stations because it said 31 minutes, but we're here. We're okay. But we are one person short. If anyone's seen Georgina, there is no sign of her. If anyone's in the kind of Woodley area, early area, and you see her out and about, tag us in, let us know she's safe. We've got no idea where she may be. But she does have 2 young children, and I would imagine it's something related to that. So she may join us later. But exciting news, because we like to innovate at Avocado. We like to keep upgrading things. We're now streaming for the first time since we've done this to 8 different destinations. So we are everywhere tonight. You cannot get away from this channel. So excited. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're in Facebook groups, we're on personal pages, business pages. We are everywhere. But what we're going to talk about... We haven't
quite made it to BBC One yet, no?
We may be, yeah.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah,
it's 6 o'clock news, isn't it?
I know a guy. I know a guy. But what we're going to talk about, before I come to Sanjay and to Matt, who are with me tonight, we're going to talk about 10% deals. There's a 10% deposit mortgage, which will blow your mind. They're even offering cash back. We're going to talk about being proceedable, not being proceedable, because we've mentioned that in quite a lot over the last 14 days. Sanjay's going to give us a rundown on open houses. Do they even work? Are they the best thing since sliced bread? We're going to discuss it. We're going to debate it. Bit of jargon busting as well to throw in the mix. I've had quite a few people over the last week ask me what X, Y, and Z means, and it's typically a state agency chat. So I thought we'd do a bit of jargon busting. Won't do loads, but if anyone's got a question about anything they don't understand that an estate agent or a solicitor or mortgage advisor once said to them, fire it in the comments and we'll try and jargon bust it. And booming or not booming, that is the question. Not the market, but the portal. I want to touch on that as well, because they've released a new smart tool where people can log on and interact with the estate agents inside 5 minutes. But if you look at their reviews, not going so well. So we're going to talk about that as well. So first of all, Sanjay, how are you?
I'm very well. Don't mind me if I'm eating some chocolates. I got given them earlier off one of my clients that I've just completed on today, so might be chewing away whilst I'm going through. But yeah, other than that, all good. Yeah, I'll save you some, Matt. I'll save you some.
It's a bit harsh. I'm sat with a glass of water. Matt, how are you doing, bud?
Yeah, decent. Yeah, good day today. Yeah, not bad at all. We had our competition winner from our Monday Madness bit that we sent out at the start of the week. So, yeah, well done to them. They get selection of like little Allens. So that's going to be heading over to their way tomorrow afternoon with a bottle of gin. They are made up. I told them to not drink it all at once, but I reckon they probably will. If you split it between 3 of them, can't wait too much. And no, good day today. Yeah.
Gin.
Well, it looks it, but it's not. No, I can't imagine that would taste particularly nice, to be fair. Other than that, no, it's been a good day. Yeah, decent day.
Good stuff. Hello to Megan. We are well. Thank you for interacting. If you've got a comment or a question, fire it in. We'd love to answer. Hello to Ellen. Good evening, gentlemen. Looking forward to these topics being broken down. And if you want to interact, then interact, because we love a comment. We love a question, as random as it may be. Going to go on open houses first of all. Sanjay, coming to you. Open houses, I think in the UK's public's perspective, sometimes they're misunderstood what they actually are. I think everyone knows what an open house looks like potentially in America, and they think, is that something we're doing, or is it just a gimmick? But from your perspective, give us a rundown on how a Sanjay open house works, and does it work is the key question.
I absolutely love open houses. There's so many benefits to doing, in my opinion, an open house and how you structure the day. The interaction with buyers, giving them the time and the space to look in, especially when you're in a market like this where there's 10, 20 buyers to, one property, where you want to try and obviously give buyers the opportunity to view, right? there's one thing I've got to say this as well, which is really, really frustrating me. I see a lot of agents, I'm not going to name any names, that are advertising open houses from 12 till 2, 11 till 1, 3 till 5, 2-hour slots. 2-hour slots for an open house in this market is unacceptable, in my opinion. It's unacceptable. There's no way you're going to give those buyers enough time to have a look around and get enough buyers in and get the most suitable buyer for your client, especially in this market. I absolutely detest when I see that being advertised. It makes no sense to me. It doesn't do anything for the client. Sorry, Ian.
Put my hand up, classroom style.
Yeah.
Are they doing that because the marketing is not as good as yours, therefore they don't have the space to fill? Or are they doing that because they want to try and have as many different properties with viewings as possible to get as many different deals in on Monday?
It's a numbers. Yeah. No, it's absolutely a numbers game. You know it. You know, we all used to work for agency. It's an absolute numbers game. Get as many open houses booked in on that Saturday. Get the weekender to go out and do it that doesn't know anything about the houses. It's shocking. It's on Saturday. Myself and Daniel from Dan and Neil actually had a bit of banter on our Instagram stories. If you missed it, I will be putting a video out soon about this. And we were both doing open houses, and Dan was there from 9 till 4. I think he had 23 people booked in. I was at mine from 9:30 till 4:15, and I had 19 people booked in. And do you know what? Just knowing that I've got 7 offers on that day, and put that forward to my seller, and all of these buyers that got to view had the opportunity, and now I know exactly what each of those buyers are looking for, so I can say to them, look, we might have this property coming up for you. It's just helping the client. You're doing right by the client. If you're not doing right by the client, then stop what you're doing. It frustrates the hell out of me. I really do hate it. So yeah, they absolutely work, in my opinion, and I love them.
I think we're doing right by the clients, plural, because you're doing right by all of the buyers and you're doing right by the vendor. And maybe this is something, Matt, going to you. The way that obviously we work, this is a live chat, so I try not to plug the way we work, but in terms of transition in the industry, is it because Sanjay's working as an exclusive agent, you're working as an exclusive agent, so am I, where you only have X amount of clients, therefore you can give that time and attention. You're giving a whole day of your life, your professional and personal life, to one client's property. It's quite a powerful statement. And that's probably the difference, I would say, Matt. Do you agree?
Yeah, I quite agree. As Sanjay mentioned a moment ago, we all worked for agencies where the idea was numbers, just numbers, as many houses onto your books as you possibly could look after, and it became unmanageable from a seller contact, but also from a buyer contact perspective as well. You used to sit there with applicant databases of 350, 400 people actively looking at one time. You never built a relationship with those people to know what they were looking for. But also from a seller's perspective, you often had teams of maybe 2-3 tops looking after registers of anywhere between 50 and 60 properties at one time. You can't give the seller that level of contact, that level of communication to know exactly what's going on a day-to-day basis. And when you're trying to build a relationship with someone, you want to have that ability to build a relationship with them so they know what's going on day in, day out. There's not just a Monday morning call and that's the only call that you make in a week, and then you catch up with them then later on that next Monday to go, oh, we had 5 viewings that week, this is what we do. I think where the model sit, and I've done it before historically, but it's how the business asks you to run your business within the 4 walls of when you're working in an environment like in a typical estate agent. When you're doing your 10 till 12s, your 12 till 2s, your 12 to 2 till 4s, if you've got more people, you're squashing the time in. So you're changing it from, anybody looking to buy a 2 or 3 bedroom house, I think needs a minimum of half an hour, really, to have a look around, proper look round. Have a look around at the local area, see if there's any questions that come off the back of it. I remember often when we were forced to do multiples of viewings, that you had 10 to 15 minutes to show someone around. They had to make probably one of the biggest and most crucial decisions of their life when they're buying a property within 10 minutes. Otherwise, they knew they were going to miss out. Now, the benefit that Sanjay came onto a minute ago, he had 19 viewings, 7 offers. Now, those 7 offers, I guarantee you, were hot, proceedable, ready to move buyers. Yeah, not 19 offers where they had to make an offer because they felt like they had to, and then before you know it, 15 of them were pulled out by Monday or Tuesday because they weren't sure because they got pushed into making a decision. So I think the quality of the instruction, the way in which it's held and managed through how we do it exclusively, we look after no more than 10 properties at one time. Right now, I don't. I'd like to say I have 10 on the market at the moment. I don't, but I'll get there one day. But I feel like that's a really sensible number of properties to have on your books at one time to be able to manage it correctly and give the service not just to your sellers, but also to your buyers.
Can I just say as well, when I book in these open houses and I'm sitting there on the valuation with them and I'm explaining to them how the open house works, my clients absolutely love it. This one on Saturday and many others had 2 kids and a dog. They've got time to prepare their house. They know exactly when it's happening. They can just go out for one day. I think they went to Chessington World of Adventures, had a great day out whilst, I was doing what I need to do at their house. They absolutely love it. The convenience of getting it done in one day is so helpful to the clients.
Yeah.
I think that's a massive point where, especially if they've got kids and pets and what have you.
And take a family to Chessington these days is not cheap. So I did hear that you got over the asking price on that. So you accounted for the Chessington bill as well, by the sounds of it.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
It's part of the service. It's all part of the service. If you're watching, I know people have views on open houses. As buyers, as sellers, as tenants, as landlords, would love your feedback on that. Whether you're watching live with us now, I think there's 20 odd people watching across the channels. Comment, let us know. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Simple as that. If you don't want to massively interact, it's just great to get everyone's feedback. The next thing that I wanted to talk about, I guess it slightly relates to it, is proceedability. We spoke a couple of weeks ago and said on the bank holiday, the last day of summer, that valuations had gone up and we were expecting that listings were therefore going to increase over the coming weeks. 16 days later, I'd definitely say there's more listings coming on the market over the last few days and booked in to come over for the rest of the month than there had been definitely in August. So that's come to fruition. Now, the importance is what happens if you miss out. So going to you, Matt, from being proceedable, do you think now is the time to at least engage and talk to an estate agent? Now is the time to be on the market, or really get sold and then look, because actually you may miss out on your dream home? Which advice would you give to people?
I think there's a mixture of both. I think you absolutely need to be in what we class as a proceedable position, like either whether you're a first-time buyer with agreement in principle in place. I'll talk about that in a moment. Whether you've got an agreement in principle, you need to have that in place first before you start looking as a first-time buyer. If you've got a property that you're looking to sell, you absolutely need to be looking at trying to get that on the market first, having it appraised, getting it on the market, pitching it out there to the correct models, which we know works within Avocado. And then get it out there so that you can start getting buyers through the door. So you know what money you've got to work with for your next purchase. Yeah. Couple that with an agreement in principle, or at least a decision in principle through a broker or a mortgage lender, gives you your tangible evidence to go to someone and go, okay, I'm good because I've sold my property. I've got a mortgage in principle, agreement in principle for that much money. I can make an offer. There's a lot of people that I talk to on a day-to-day basis that say, yeah, I want to go out and see what's right out there for me at the moment before I put mine on the market. And I said, it's difficult to run it that way because you are one of 20 buyers for that property, without exaggeration. And Sanjay saw it at the weekend with 19 buyers and 7 offers. I guarantee all of those would have been proceedable buyers that you introduced. Yeah, exactly. And I guarantee you probably could have done 40, 45, 50 plus viewings if you needed to with non-proceedable buyers. So I think when you're a proceedable buyer, it puts you in a much stronger position to be able to make an offer and get it accepted, especially if you're going in there and going up against other competition. So list it, sell it, view it. From my perspective, that has to be the way in which it's run. You're then in a proceedable position to be able to then go on and find it, because there's nothing worse than going out, viewing properties, going, oh, that's absolutely the one I wanted, to know that it's sold 30 seconds later from someone that could actually buy it.
Yeah. Absolutely. A couple of people commented here. Thank you for that. Joanna, she's mentioned that'd be my ideal way of doing things, which is an open house. And then Andy Mead has commented and said, how do you do open houses and social distancing? So Sanjay, because you put your hand up rapid.
Yeah, I was going to mention this earlier, but I forgot. And this is another reason how you cannot do a 2-hour open house, because there is 0 social distancing. Yes, we don't like to say the C word, but it is still apparent. It is still out there. So hence why mine are single appointments with one set of buyers at a time, back to back. So there's not only more than two households in the property at one time.
Still wearing masks?
Absolutely, yeah.
Anti-bac?
Yeah.
Yeah. Windows and doors open where possible, and on the half-hour slots. I've seen. I've driven past on the weekends, and I've seen people queuing outside of properties that have got for sale boards up, which I assume is them queuing to view. And it's not the right thing to do, is it? Let's be honest. So yeah. Absolutely. Got a little balloon here. So yeah, absolutely. In terms of mortgage rates, we all know mortgage rates are dirt cheap. Andy says, good thinking. Thanks. Back at you. In terms of mortgage rates, we know they are unbelievably cheap at the moment, but one that stood out, I get the inside kind of rates a couple of days normally before they drop, and one that dropped earlier on this week with Virgin Money was the first time I'd seen a 90% loan to value. We spoke about jargon busting. Loan to value means 90% mortgage, 10% deposit. For anyone watching that didn't know what that means, and it was 1.99%. And you get £1,000 cash back on completion. Unbelievable.
Sub 2%. Yeah, that sub 2% is coming down in all categories now. It's pretty. It's never happened before. Not that I know of, anyway. It's crazy.
And that £1,000 goes a long way to getting yourself sorted in your new home, getting some materials for decorating, changing carpets, or just generally having it to spend as you need to. So no, decent, really good.
If you're a first-time buyer, like you say, you get £1,000 cash back. You go into IKEA. There's a lot of stuff you can get in IKEA for £1,000.
Not that I'd fancy putting it all up after it's been flat packed, but that £1,000 to get someone else to do it for you.
But I just thought I'd share that because that's a phenomenal rate. If someone wants details on that, it is an exclusive deal. A mortgage lender has to be part of it. I love Joanna's comments tonight. She said, or wine. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
Cases of it.
Yeah. Fun down a Majestic with that, wouldn't you? Yeah.
We now know why Joanna needed a second reception room, and it was for the wine cellar. Love that. Absolutely love it. Thank you for involving yourself in our convo. Crazy deals. And I had a conversation on the Landlord Page podcast with a mortgage advisor the other day talking about buy-to-let deals, and they're equally dropping. There's no sign of it slowing. Akil mentioned on last week's live chat about Lloyds Bank looking to invest in buy-to-lets themselves, purchase properties to rent out as a bank. So we've seen five-year deals dropping as well. So banks are super confident at the moment. There we go. Love that we've not forgotten exactly what she is looking for. Brilliant. I want to talk about booming. If people are watching that don't know what booming is, you may have seen some of these random adverts on TV from booming, and it's effectively a sort of challenger portal to Zoopla and Rightmove with a different take on things. The tool that they've brought out recently, some may have used. I think there's been 4,000 people across the country this week since it launched that have used it. Is effectively a way of saying, how much is my property worth? Filling out a fair amount of details. They fire it to selected amount of estate agents. I think you can select or deselect the estate agents. I'm not sure exactly on the UX from the client's point of view because I only see our side. And then the estate agents can accept it, but they've only got 5 minutes to accept it. They can then give what they believe is the valuation of that property. But if you're out of the office, obviously you miss the 5 minutes it goes. You've then got 15 minutes to fill it out, and then hopefully you can interact if the client likes what you say. So it's like Tinder for property pricing. If you're happy with it, you get your contact details over. Not that I've ever been on Tinder, but I'd imagine it's something like that. So I'd love people's feedback. If people know what booming is, what is your view? We shared in our WhatsApp group yesterday, Sanjay, some of the reviews, which are not great. But how have you found that Smart Val tool? Have you managed to speak to the people that have filled it out yet? I think you might have had a couple go your way.
No is a simple answer. And in a nutshell, I just go back to my core value. It's not doing right by the client. And their reviews pretty much say that quite out loud, because the reviews are people who are trying to or looking to sell their home or get a valuation, it doesn't, given 5 minutes to do like an online valuation of a 2, 3, 4, 5, £1 million, whatever price point house, it just doesn't really make sense. That's not accurate. It's not doing right by the client. At the moment, it doesn't work. Their advert was quite nice. I saw that come on TV the other day. But advert's one thing. When it comes to the nitty gritty about doing right with the client, it doesn't really work for me.
And Matt, I don't know your views on this, but often when these companies launch, what they're looking to do is they're looking to appeal to the big corporate estate agents. And typically the only agents that are able within 5 minutes to just click their fingers and submit a valuation that know the actual valuation price are going to be the valuers, the managers. Obviously, in our case, it's going to be the self-employed agent. There's no guarantee that we're free every 5 minutes of the day to do that. So often I would imagine it's going to a call center or it's going to the administrator, and they've got 15 minutes to fill it out. And probably, in all fairness, don't know the prices as well as someone like yourself that's gone to school in Wokingham, grew up in Wokingham, worked as an estate agent in Wokingham. There's probably not a road you don't know in Wokingham. But if that's
all they're going to do is they're going to jump onto a software system, which we've got access to, which will give us a ballpark on a value and go, 123 Acacia Avenue, 3 bedrooms, use the house price index over a period of time from when they bought it to where it is now, and go, okay, the value's that. Now that it gives you absolutely, I think some of those valuation tools are light at the moment because the demand is so high from buyers out there. I also think that a lot of people, tell me, I mean, I know that since I bought my house, I've done a load of work to it, which would increase the value, as everyone else would have done. So that's not giving you an indication based on the improvements that you've made to your home over a period of time, extensions and everything else that go along with it. Now, we also know that, I mean, we're still working past when everyone else is closed at 23 minutes past 6, generally. I mean, there will be the odds and sods that are there still. And like you say, you're not going to have anyone other than your managers and assistant managers that are really going to be capable enough to provide you with that valuation. Now, I haven't seen anything come through from my perspective yet, but imagine that valuation coming through at 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the evening, asking for 5 minutes. They're never going to get that response back anyway. And even if they did or didn't have a call center, the benefit of us being the way that we work is that it's our own business. We're there, I'd like to say 24/7. We are, but I do sleep occasionally, to be able to provide that instant bit of information. Now, what Sanjay mentioned earlier is totally exactly what I think as well. You've got to do right by the client. Now, I will very rarely provide a valuation over the phone unless that's the only thing that they want, because I can't see it. I can't go and have a look. I can't work out what they've done to it. I can't work out whether I've got a buyer around the corner that actually might pay maybe a little bit more because it's absolutely their dream house. So you need to go and have a look at properties to give an accurate representation on value. Now, I think that's the right way of approaching it, whether that's traditional, non-traditional. I think the booming part of it will be a bit of they're just trying to be a bit different, but I don't think it's going to be successful.
Do you know what it feels like? It feels like very slapdash job, kind of like a lot of this industry, which really infuriates me, because the comment I always get from my clients is that, Sanjay, you're so thorough. And I'm like, because you have to be. You're selling your biggest asset, or you're buying your biggest cost. You can't do a slapdash job about it. It just doesn't bode well. Doesn't bode well.
No, absolutely. No, good to get your feedback on that. And I'm always interested to know what the public's view is. And Trustpilot paints an interesting picture at the moment. So we will see how that unfolds. So just going to spend the next kind of 5 or 6 minutes doing a little bit of jargon busting. We've got 55 years worth of experience between the three of us in the industry. Whichever way that goes, we won't talk about. But I think it's good to do a bit of jargon busting. And one of the things at the moment that I would love to talk about, I don't know who will fire this at, but the difference of a mortgage offer versus a mortgage approved in principle. Sometimes buyers get in a muddle with this, I think. And I think it's important to kind of clarify the difference between the two. Hands up if anyone wants to jump on this one, or I'm happy to.
I'll jump on. I get asked this quite a lot from first-time buyers, especially that haven't been through this process. Yeah. The mortgage in principle, an AIP or a DIP, as your broker may call it, decision in principle, is essentially your credit check, your affordability check. You know, they check your credit file and how much you can afford up to. It's no guarantee that you're going to get a mortgage off the back of that. But it's good to have in place before you view, just to give you peace of mind. Whereas a mortgage offer, that's obviously one your broker has put all the application in with all of your pay slips, your information, the survey, the mortgage valuation survey from the bank has been completed. That report's gone back to the lender, and then they issue your mortgage offer. Generally speaking, in terms of time difference between putting an agreement of principle together or an application to a mortgage offer can vary from, well, I've had some go through in 7 days, believe it or not. Big shout out to Uncle Dave. But yeah, so yeah, that's essentially what the differences are.
No, good. Because I think sometimes buyers say, yeah, the mortgage is agreed. It might be agreed in principle, but it might not be offered. And it's just really important that people understand the difference. And also the sellers understand the difference, because you can say, yeah, they've got a mortgage agreed in principle. The assumption might be that that's gospel and it's done. And then actually the buyer does the application. Turns out they've got car finance that they didn't mention, or they've got a CCJ from a Debenhams account when they were 19 or something crazy like that that's flagged up. And these little things can have an impact. So thank you for clearing that up, Sanjay. There is a chain. Now, the chain works in a couple of different ways. There's always a chain in reality. It comes down to how many links, but often people say, I'm not in a chain when they're sold. Or often people can sometimes say, I found I'm not in a chain. But Matt, just clarified. Let's say we've got someone that sold their property. They found a property. That person is looking onwards. What does the chain look like for them? Are they in a chain? Are they not in a chain?
Yes, they are in a chain. Yeah, totally in a chain. So the chain is consisted of their buyer, the person that they're buying from, and then the person that they're buying from as well, until that process stops. So how you can break a chain, for example, so say if I was buying Ian's house and Ian was buying Sanjay's house, if Sanjay was going to move into rented, Sanjay would be the end of that link of that chain. Yeah, so that would be the next part of it that he doesn't buy on. Now, the only time you can get a very short chain is if you've got first-time buyer buying someone that's originally had it as an investment property, for example. So I've got one going through at the moment on Rose Street. I've got a first-time buyer buying a property off the back of someone that's looking to try and get rid of it from an investment perspective. It's a small link chain, isn't it? Well, it's not even a chain really, because it's just one person buying it off the next. I'm trying to think of an easier way to explain this, and please jump in if you feel there's a better way of doing it. But if there are multiples of people buying off each other through that process, you're involved in the chain.
The chain is exactly as you described it, which is the link is when the buyer and there's a seller, and the link is the property between the two, and that's the transaction. So even your Rose Street, it has a chain, it's just got one link. And if someone's selling a property, they've sold to a first-time buyer, they're looking to buy a property that's vacant, and they say, I'm not in a chain. You are actually in a chain because you have a buyer and a property you're looking to buy. So there's kind of the double link, but the chain is closed in that case. So just really important to share that with people of what the chain actually means, because we all know what it means in agency, but sometimes it doesn't make sense to people that don't know what a chain is. The next thing that I thought we could talk about, Sanjay, I'll fire this one at you. It's an easy one for us, but a lot of people get this muddled up. Exchange of contracts or completion. What's the difference between the two? Can they happen on the same day? Which one happens first? Just give us a little brief on that.
Let's give you an example. Yesterday, I had an exchange of contracts take place. So what that essentially means is the buyer and the seller have both signed their contracts. The buyer has transferred their deposit money, whether it be 5, 10%, whatever was agreed, to their solicitor. And then the solicitors can effectively exchange the contracts. There is, generally speaking, always a delay between exchange and completion. Completion's obviously when you get the keys. That's because generally, if you've got a mortgage, the mortgage lenders need that 5 working days in between to draw down the funds to transfer to the solicitors, and it's hundreds of thousands of pounds. So there's always a delay. So you have exchange of contracts first, then a week or whatever the agreed is, date, completion after. Completion's the best day. For me, in the process, is the best day, finest day.
And is that where you got your chocolates from, a completion?
No, yes, that was today. Yeah, that was today.
There we go. It's the best day for that reason alone.
I mean, look, thank you, Laura and Stu. Big shout out to you.
Yeah, he's going to work his way through those tonight. I think it's really important because people say, "Oh, have we completed?" Well, you've exchanged. It's kind of just getting that muddle. So exchange happens first. It means it's legally binding. Sanjay's right. Normally, you would find 7 days later, 5 working days later, although sometimes lenders have said longer than that at the moment. You would then complete when the funds have been drawn down from the bank. If you want to do an exchange completion on the same day, or if it has happened on the same day, what's happened is both solicitors have spoken, as have buyer and seller. A completion date is set. Something's outstanding that means legally you can't exchange yet. So the buyer's solicitor will apply for funds from the bank, even though you've exchanged. So the funds are there on completion day, and then you do what's called a sim or a simultaneous, which is an exchange and completion same day. So hopefully that clears that up for a couple of people. AML, Matt, I'll go to you on that one. Your level of expertise, I'm sure. AML, what does it mean? Why do we have to do it? And is it relevant for everyone? Tenants, landlords, buyers, sellers?
Yeah, anti-money laundering. Yeah, so it's appropriate for everybody. So tenants, landlords, buyers, sellers, you need to know who you're dealing with before you can transact with them. A lot of it comes in from a selling perspective. You've got to make sure that the person that is selling the property actually owns it, because that has happened before where they've tried to sell something that's not owned by them. Also, when buyers are buying, you will need to know that the funds are coming from a specific location, which is not offshore, which could look a little bit funny on the face of it. So yeah, anti-money laundering, appropriate checks to make sure that people that are exchanging cash or value are the right people to be doing so, and that it is a legal transaction.
And we have to do it because our governing bodies state that we have to do it. We're not prying, we're not being awkward. It's just something that we have to do. We're not regulated as an industry properly or a profession with qualifications, but we have regulation authorities that mean we have to adhere to that. So normally we finish these up around now. At 6:30. We've gone slightly over. I think we covered a lot of stuff in 32 minutes there, from mortgage deals to proceedability to open houses, bit of jargon busting, the new portal in town, see whether they last, and a few other bits and bobs as well. So love that. Anything that either of you guys want to add prior to finishing up? Sanjay, I'll come to you first, bud.
No, just one thing. If any of my clients are watching this, I've had quite a few exchange and completions this month. So I just thank you to everyone. And I always say thank you to supporting the change and the difference in this industry, because that's essentially what every client gives us. And I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Matt, from your perspective, Mr. Wokingham, if there was the perfect property, what would be the perfect property for you to list tomorrow that you've got a ton of quality buyers looking for?
It's actually a selection of 3 of them. So it's 2, 3 and 4 bedroom houses. So I've got everybody out there looking for houses, and there's just not enough out there at the moment. I put it on one of my marketing bits of content this morning to say that that's exactly what people are after. So yeah, it's but buyers are absolutely chomping at the bit for those types of properties at the moment. So if anybody's got anybody, let me know. My bit was similar also to Sanjay's. As a newer business than how Sanjay's been operating, and certainly you have, my thanks is to the friends and family that helped me get through this, not get through it, helped me out trying to introduce me to other people that are looking to try and sell and buy. So if anyone's listening to them, thanks very much, appreciate it, and keep doing what you're doing.
Joanna's definitely looking for a 4-bed detached.
Is Joanna one of your clients in?
Yes. Yeah, she's an Avocado client. She's looking in a couple of different areas. So looking for a 4-bed. And Mark says, cheers guys, great listen. He's obviously enjoyed it. It's been a good combo. And yeah, I echo what both of you say, which is I feel like we're building a community of supporters. Whenever anyone's looking for a recommendation in a Facebook group, it goes absolutely avocado bananas, and we massively appreciate that support. We are doing things differently. We're doing that on purpose because we felt the industry needs a change. We're going to keep on doing it. Yes, we get it in the neck from our fellow estate agents that don't want to change, but we're happy because we're doing it for the public. We're not doing it for the industry. We're doing it for the public. And it's a big, bold decision to go out there wearing hoodies, avocados, pink tops when we've got them on. But we're all super experienced and we're doing it for the right reasons. And we absolutely love it. So, yes, that is a wrap. 35 minutes. If anyone does know where Georgina is, I hope she is actually okay. She hasn't come back. I hope she's well. And we'll try and get her on next week. And yeah, Matt, Sanjay, as always, loved it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, guys.